Welcome to Rust Belt Builds. Today we're going to do a valve adjustment on the old Camaro here. It's bright out, perfect day to make some stuff run really good here. So with Trevor behind the camera, he's going to use his disc vent valve job, and we're going to get the Camaro ready to destroy Mustangs on the highway. But yeah, if you want to see how we're going to do this hydraulic roller valve adjustment, stay tuned. Appreciate you for watching. So there you go.
So if you're a normal person, you adjust your valves outside of your car, but like since you're just this small and shit, you just be one with the car. Okay, so I'm going to do a little explanation before we get started here. Alright, so the method we'll be using is called the Eoic method. Exhaust, open, intake, close. It's one of the most common methods used for adjusting valves on really any small block engine, whether it be Chevy, and I think it applies to Ford and Dodge as well. So you have two different types of cam. You have a mechanical cam and hydraulic. Now you have hydraulic flat tappet and hydraulic roller. Well, the adjustment procedure on a hydraulic roller and a hydraulic flat tappet are the same thing. However, for mechanical, it's different. So what you'll be doing is, I like to start, it doesn't matter which valve you start with on the same piston, whether it be exhaust or intake. I usually just start with the first one because it's easier. So this is going to be your intake valve, and this is going to be your exhaust. Usually people get them mixed up, but the easiest way to tell is obviously your exhaust valve, your rocker arm will point at the tube on the header. So you know this is an exhaust valve. And then the runner, intake, intake, exhaust, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust. So you usually need two people to do this the quick way. One of your buddies or something will turn the engine over, get it on the right stroke, and then the person adjusting the valves will be up here. So this is what you do. So let's start with the exhaust valve. So to adjust the exhaust valve, you're going to look at the intake, and you want to get the intake to go to open and then just start to come back up, and then you'll be able to adjust the exhaust. And then to adjust the intake, which is the easiest, you'll look at the exhaust valve, and as soon as it starts to open up, you'll be able to adjust this the correct way. And as soon as he turns this over, I'll explain how to adjust it. Okay, so he's going to turn the engine over, and I'll explain what we're going to be doing here. So we're looking currently at the intake because we're adjusting the exhaust. So okay, Dax, go ahead and bump it again, and then now it's starting to go down. So we're going to let it go all the way down and just start to come up. All right, bump it. Okay, see, that'll probably work, but I like to make sure it's down at its full point and back up, just to be 100%. So go ahead and bump it again. 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 Okay, tiny bump. Alright, and tiniest bump. Alright, so now it's back up. So now we can adjust this exhaust valve. And so what you do is you'll take it out, loosen it up a little bit, get it to where the push rod is spinning freely. Okay, so it's spinning freely right now, but I'm going to take it a little bit past. So on a hydraulic cam, you want to find zero lash, whether it's a flat tappet or a roller cam. And you'll do that by spinning the push rod as you're tightening it. So as you're spinning the push rod and tightening it, you will start to feel a little bit of resistance as you're tightening it. So I got a little bit too much, but you want to just, right when you start feeling the resistance is when you want to start your adjustment. So I'm spinning it and I'm not feeling anything yet. Still. Okay, now I got a little bit of resistance on there now. So depending on the cam manufacturer, they'll recommend either a quarter or a half turn past zero lash. So on his cam, it's a half turn. So we have the resistance on the push rod, and we're just going to put it half turn. Make sure I don't fuck anything up here. So right there, half turn, and then now this valve is done. Now I'm going to explain, if it was a mechanical cam, you don't use the spinning pushrod method. On your cam card, you'll have a different latch setting on intake and exhaust, which usually they're in between like 20 to like 26 thousandths, depending on how big the cam is and all that stuff. So what you would do is you would have a feeler gauge. It looks like it's just like a little thing that has a bunch of size, like, I don't know how you explain
Just
it.
Google a feeler gauge. You'll know what it is.
Just Google it. But there's different thicknesses. It's like a little stick, and what you'll do is, depending on what your cam recommends, you'll put it in between the valve stem and the roller, and you'll tighten it. You keep on going in and out until you feel it just start to tug, and then once you get that feeling, then it's done. You don't set a preload. That's only for hydraulic cams. So that's pretty much how you adjust different types of cams. So we just adjusted the exhaust valve. Now we are going to move on to the intake valve. So I'll have him turn it over and I'll show you the intake valve procedure. It's the same idea, but it's a different point on where the valve is. Okay, so he's going to turn it over, and now we're adjusting the intake. So we're going to be looking at the setting of the exhaust, where it sets on the cam. So go ahead and bump it. We're looking just for this to go down. Just bump it slightly. As soon as the exhaust goes down,
Try to get closer.
we can adjust the intake. Okay, bump it. Bump it. Again. Okay, so this is down. Now we can start to adjust this right here. This is the intake. So this is the same procedure for every one of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it all the way out. Not all the way out, but we're going to take it a good bit out. And then I'm going to spin the push rod until I feel resistance on it. So I'm not feeling any resistance yet. Now I am. I'm going to take it back just a little bit. So I got a little bit of resistance on it now. Okay, so right there. So now we got the resistance on the push rod, and we're going to do that half preload, but this is only for his cam. So most are a quarter or a half. So on his cam, we're going to go a half, and then boom, now it's set. And that applies to every single one of these. However, don't base this off the setting where this is at, because even though we have an exhaust valve here on this piston, we don't have it here on this. So you can't do the same order I just did, but you can follow the procedure where I showed you how to tell the difference between which valve you're on, whether it is exhaust or intake. So that's just a quick little explanation of how to adjust different types of cams and how to adjust a hydraulic roller cam or hydraulic flat tappet for this setup. Alright, so we just got everything adjusted, and like Dak said in the intro, the car was running really good out the track, and I think just from beating on it and high RPM shifts that it could have just loosened up the valve train a little bit, and even before that the car was beat on the street and so forth. So yeah, we just got them all adjusted, and we'll put a little clip of it idling with the valve adjustment. Usually when you adjust them after like they come out of adjustment, you'll get a lot more of a nicer idle, more smoother idle, and it'll sound more choppier, which everybody likes, a nice choppy cam sound. So enjoy the video, and make sure you like and subscribe, share the video everywhere, and watch all of our other videos that we have on the channel. The last video was an absolute banger, so peace out.